Hi, and welcome to In Brandon. Today, I'm here with Danielle Lalonde, and she started up a new support group called Westman Families of Addicts. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us why you started this support group.
I started the support group because I noticed that there was a distinct lack of support, I guess, when we needed it. I have a 20-year-old son that has been struggling with drug addiction. His drug of choice is meth, and he's been struggling for almost 2 years now. And I noticed that various things were coming up in our lives all the time, and we didn't seem to have any answers, or we didn't have the luxury of waiting 3 months or 2 months or 6 weeks or whatever the case may be to actually get into another organization to get help. So we kind of needed it immediately, and talking to other parents, I decided that there was a huge need in our area.
Right. So what's the reaction been like since you've started this support group?
The reaction has been totally overwhelming. I honestly expected, maybe to hear from 10 or 15 people after the initial interview went out, and I had initially posted on eBrandon. And when in fact I've heard from hundreds of people and had hundreds of emails, support or people looking for support, excuse me, across the province. I've actually had people reach out from other provinces as well, offering to help out. But mainly it's just been people that are kind of lost and looking for that support. Surprisingly enough, though, I've even had addicts themselves, everywhere from alcoholics to gambling addicts to narcotics addicts, that have actually reached out as well and said that they're looking for a regular type of support group.
Right. So because of all this overwhelming interest in your group, you've started up a Facebook page.
I have. I figured that it would be a little bit easier to put everything into one area rather than answer all of those individual emails. So it is called Westman Families of Addicts. It's a closed group. You have to ask for membership into the group. I'm really encouraging people that are the individuals or families that are affected by somebody's drug addiction to join up, and that's where I'm hoping that we can get all that centralized information, and it's a starting point. It's a really good place to hear from other folks about what they're actually looking for and what kind of support they need.
Right. You're going to have regular meetings, so you've got your first meeting coming up.
I'm hoping so. Our first meeting is scheduled for June the 13th at 7 o'clock. However, I am still looking for a venue. Once again, somebody had originally offered their home, thinking that we might have 10 to 15 people, but we have far surpassed that at this stage. So I'm really hoping maybe somebody or an organization in the community wants to step up and offer us some space. Right now, obviously, we don't have any finances either to actually get something like that off the ground, right? Even serving coffee and refreshments and paying for a venue. So I'm really hoping, being that it is such a huge community issue, that there is another community organization that wants to help us out and volunteer that.
Right. So how can people contact you?
The easiest way will be now through the Facebook page, the Westman Families of Addicts. They can find me on Facebook as well, under Danielle Lalonde Smith. I have my email floating around out there, and that is still some way people can get a hold of me. But like I said, I'm just kind of overwhelmed with that emails, and it would be much easier if it was through the Facebook page in a centralized location.
Great. Is there anything else you want to add in about the group?
Like I said before, I could probably talk till the cows come home. One of the things that I want to reiterate to everybody is that, I am not a drug or alcohol counselor. I'm a nurse by profession. I'm just one of those concerned family members that has been struggling through this entire journey of how we deal with our son's drug addiction. I think it's really important for the whole community to step forward, just because it is a community issue, right? And I mean, the healthier the families are, the healthier the community is going to be. So bearing in mind, like I said, addiction is a chronic issue, right? Things don't just pop up in a nice little even path like we would like. That's one of the main things that I want people to take away from this, right, is that it is a chronic issue. So if we could have those regular support meetings, maybe once, twice a month, whatever the need may be, it might give people a little bit more of a chance or opportunity to follow up on what their actual support needs are at that time. So, and I want to reiterate that as well too. The purpose of the group is looking for support, maybe to teach you how to advocate and find resources, right? To be able to find and share resources, what's worked, what hasn't. You know, down to how we are going to learn self-coping skills, right? How we become aware, how we learn not to enable our children. You know, teaching us to not be manipulated, right? Because one of the biggest things, of course, is that, you know, enabling your kids, we're not doing them any favors, right? When we're enabling their drug addiction. So that's a really tough skill to learn, right? I mean, we're kind of taught from a young age, right? That we're supposed to help out and we're supposed to do this and supposed to do that. So that's another important takeaway, I guess, from the meeting. I encourage anybody, I would love to have guest speakers come out. So I would very much encourage anybody, you know, from mental health workers to psych nurses to clergy, you know, even community leaders to come out and be a speaker at the groups, maybe impart some knowledge, somebody in the legal system, right? People have, you know, lawyer and legal complications pop up when they're dealing with a child or a loved one with a drug addiction. So to have a lawyer come in, you know, and speak to something like that would be a huge bonus, especially for the parents or individuals in the community.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today, Danielle, and hopefully anybody who hasn't heard of you before or who is dealing with the problem of a family member who is addicted will be able to contact you through the Facebook page and get the support that they need.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.